Welcome to On the Firing Line on the information station, AM 1440 KUHL. Information, education, news, and politics of firearms and ammunition is found here. If you have any questions, call us at 1-888-625-1440. That's 1-888-625-1440.
A woman in her 60s was at home in Kansas City, Missouri, when there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find a 24-year-old man who asked after someone who didn't live at the residence, then forced his way inside the home. The home invader then sexually assaulted the woman. During a pause in the attack, the woman was able to retrieve a revolver. She then shot and killed the criminal as he was making his way towards her again. The home invader was released from prison in 2012 after serving a sentence for burglary and robbery convictions. This brought to you by the Kansas City Star, Kansas City, Missouri. November 14th, 2013.
You are on the firing line with Matt and Joe. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the local Santa Maria area, give us a call at 928-1440.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good, intense Second Amendment encounter there.
Can you imagine somebody, knock, knock. First of all, don't open the door unless you know who's there. Second of all, if you couldn't defend yourself, and fortunately, I mean, we don't answer our door with a gun. Can you imagine scaring everybody away all the time? But she had a gun somewhere. She was able to get a hold of it, and she was able to defend herself.
Yep, absolutely. And that's a good point. I mean, never open the door. You either look or just ask who it is. It doesn't matter if you think you sound silly. If it's your neighbor, it's your neighbor. But at least take that precaution. And that's a good point. She didn't answer the door with a weapon, but she was able to get one when the guy left her alone for a second, it sounds like.
Right.
It's still a terrible thing that happened, but not going to happen to anybody else from that guy anyway.
Thank God. I mean, this guy, obviously, he was in prison. He spent time there for burglary and whatnot, and he probably got a higher education there,
Yeah.
Well paid for by us, the civilians here. And free men, I would like to think.
Yeah, we paid for his college.
Yeah, we paid for his college education, and that was to what? Pick on the elderly and the poor and those who you think can't protect themselves.
You think? You think?
Right.
We do see more and more, and I don't know if we're seeing more of them, but we bring them to light all the time of these elderly people, and especially elderly women that get preyed upon, and we all keep finding out they're doing things about it. People are sick and tired of it.
And that's the fact. They are getting sick and tired of it. And it's great that in this nation we have the right still to be able to protect ourselves and use a tool to be, whatever it be, to protect ourselves. We had a guy in the gun store this week that was from England, actually yesterday. And he's saying, I said, so what do you do if somebody breaks into your house? Well, you go to Custifist. You use your hands. And I'm thinking, hands against a gun, hands against a knife.
Right. Even, you don't even have to take it there. Hands against a 2x4. I mean, your hands, even if you're a great fighter, it's still not going to be the best thing you can get. Right. By no means.
Not all of us are Jet Li or Bruce Lee, so.
This is, unfortunately.
Or Chuck Norris, Chuck Norris just uses his beard, though. Wow! You do that again. That tickles.
Yeah.
Well, he probably doesn't say it with that accent, but. But still, I mean, you get the point. A firearm is only a tool of the self-defense.
Yeah.
And I think that one thing we have to stop and take a look at is the fact that the right of self-defense is within question here in the United States, as the United States government, in most places around the United States, want to shy away from that idea of self-defense. They want to go towards a European ideal, which is something we tried to leave many years ago. And that's kind of what today's topic is a little bit about.
I don't like when anybody our government or people we've elected want to say, well, we need to be more European. I mean, why can't we just focus on being American and
Absolutely.
Maybe fix that and get that right, first of all?
There was a reason so many people come to America from other countries.
Yeah, that's exactly
what I
was thinking.
And that's to be American, not to change America to be like somebody else. And that's not to, let's just stick with that.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about. The whole thing here, though, is we don't need to change America. We need to hold it strong. That's why we have our politicians take oaths, and that's why we try to protect the Constitution of the United States. And within that Constitution, each state's allowed to have its own Constitution for a certain amount of sovereignty, rights that they can bestow upon the people, because the people elect officials to do that, and they're supposed to be acting on the will of the people. But the government that was set up by our forefathers have certain rights that were given to us that cannot even be violated by the states. And those are the things that hold us together and unite us as the United States.
Oh yeah, big time.
It's just amazing that so many people are willing to break that up and are willing so much to let things go under the pretense of, well, that was the 18th century and it doesn't mean the same thing. And these ideals just, they're outreaching and they,
Outdated
they're just
idea, and
felonious now.
And they're not. I mean, it just takes common sense to think about it. There's just because there's new ways of things get done and new ways of crime, new ways of everything. That's just the way of the world.
Man is still man.
Man is still man, and the basic principle of the rule still apply.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny. We've talked about the Battle of Athens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was a perfect example. That was within this century, not even, not even 60 years ago.
No, it was.
Well, actually, Joe, I don't want to correct you, but that's not this century. It was last century. We're in the 21st century. That was in the 20th
wow,
century.
you are right.
I'm sorry.
It was within a century of this time.
I stand corrected. but
you stand.
We get the idea,
But
right?
that's right. You stand,
You
man.
stand.
That's correct.
Yes, and I stand with the proud few.
But I don't want anybody coming into your gun store going, hey, Joe. Hey,
Yeah, last
hey,
century.
Joe.
Get it together, man.
That was 1949, man.
Wow. And so let's, move away from that subject.
No, but you're right, Joe. I mean, you may have you were just stating something, but it's true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah, it's very. It's not.
It still happened in our generation.
Right.
Right.
It didn't happen 500 years ago,
No,
or even
no.
200 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. It was a blink of an eye.
It was 2,000 years ago under the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, that these kind of things happened. So why do we think that because we live in this great time with technology that things have changed? The thoughts and ideals and feelings of mankind have never changed, and they never will. We've had gun control as part of our life and culture in America and through the past of time. And maybe it wasn't necessarily gun, but it was definitely weapon control.
Yes.
And so this is nothing new, but it is the eternal fight of good versus evil.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
this is the fight that we stand up for.
People don't realize that.
No, I don't believe so.
There is people walking in the clouds. They just don't realize there's evil people.
Yeah, and they don't want to realize it. To be honest, I think
I think you're
it's
right.
a lot easier to turn the cheek and just be naive about it. Ignorance is bliss.
And
Well, even the Bible states that, you're to be a good person. Do you think that person, what they were referring to, carries the sword for nothing?
right.
That's
Because
yeah.
now they carry a gun. A cop carries a gun, but in those days they carried a sword.
Yeah, same
And it's for
difference.
justice. That's what it's there for.
That's
Because guess
exactly.
what?
Yeah.
There's bad people.
Yeah, if there wasn't, we wouldn't need that stuff for protection. We would just have it for sporting or having fun.
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
is there for that purpose. That is what it's there for.
And you got to remember, too, the sword was the best of its technology at its
absolutely,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, they had sticks and rocks.
Right.
you know?
As metal as they were able to get better metals and stuff.
Oh, yeah, they
and
found
all
metal
the stuff improved.
Can you imagine?
Improvement for 4,500
That's why there was the
years ago.
Bronze
they were,
Age and the
right.
every
They would get those bronze arrows they found and stuff. Imagine getting hit with a bronze arrow.
No,
oh,
not
my
good.
goodness.
Well, I think you've got an idea of what today's show is going to be about. We're going to be talking about the assault against the right of self-defense. And if you had looked online, or if you have looked online with our Facebook page, you'll probably see that the outline starts out with the newest liberal criminal assault against the right to self-defense.
Yep.
We also have another article, which is the A&M law professor wants to repeal the Second Amendment.
And that is Texas A&M.
Yes, that is
Can you
Texas
believe
A&M.
that?
which is-
repeal the
yes.
Second Amendment.
From Texas A&M.
In that
Are you
article,
kidding me?
she wants to turn the Second Amendment over to each individual state. A right that was given to us by our forefathers, fought for, people died and bled, and have tried to protect over the years. Again, that fight of good versus evil. And even if you're not Christian and you don't believe in good versus evil, you definitely believe in positive and negative.
Yeah,
There's good and
you
bad.
got to know.
There's
Yeah,
good and
right
bad,
and wrong.
exactly.
Right and wrong, there it is, yeah.
So it's that simple. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back with you, we're going to talk about that. And I also have a nice little story. Actually, it's not a story. It's the Federalist number 45 for at the end of the show, because that really points out the point of all of this. So we'll be right back with you on the firing line.
We'll be back to more of On the Firing Line with Joe and Jim after this.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
Now a great word from Santa Maria Motorcycles, formerly Santa Maria Harley-Davidson, located at 2022 Presker Lane. They are dealers for Honda, Kawasaki, and Harley-Davidson. Grab your family and go see the museum, filled with exciting older bikes that you won't see anywhere else on the Central Coast. As well, they are the #1 motorcycle dealer on the Central Coast with the largest inventory around. Go in and see Martin Buchanan, or you can give him a call at 805-928-3668. You can also go visit them every first Thursday of the month for Bike Night. Starts at 6 p.m. Have a great time with your family at Santa Maria Motorcycles. You are on the firing line with Matt, Jim, and Joe today.
Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440. Or if you're in the Santa Maria area, give us a call at 928-1440.
And of course, don't forget to check us out on Facebook on the Firing Line with Matt and Joe.
That's right, you're back on the Firing Line. We're going to get into the newest liberal criminal assault of the right to self-defense. Got
Yes,
a good article put together here.
The attack on our rights will never end. It will be part of our past, and it will be part of our future. I can only hope enough will not forget what we have left to fight for.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. We found this article. It's the newest liberal criminal assault, the right to self-defense. It was written by John Ransom. It's actually a pretty recent article. But it kind of says a lot. And so we thought we'd share it with everybody and talk about it a little bit as we go through like we normally do. And hopefully we'll get some callers out there who will share some ideas on this stuff. And really, let's put it out there because it's not just us three guys here on the radio fighting for you. We're all doing this together.
Yeah, it's a collective effort, and if you're listening to this, that means you care.
Yes.
We'll say that much.
And if you just turn on the radio and heard us for the first time, it's never too late to get involved. It's never too late to fight.
Yep.
All right, here goes. Now it all becomes clear. Liberals want to lay still and think of England, while all manner of people molest your peace, your property, and your body. 3 cheers to the old King George. At least that's what it's come to in a growing number of self-defense cases around the country. Not only are we questioning a person's right to arm themselves, we are questioning a person's right to defend themselves at all. It's happening in Reading, Pennsylvania, Sanford, Florida, Mesquite, Texas, Seattle, Washington.
Epidemic.
My body, my choice apparently only applies to killing innocent babies, not threats to your life and property. By leaps and bounds, liberals are trying to stifle your right to self-defense because you know that's the government's right, not the right of the private citizen.
Wow.
Yes, that's scary.
Yeah, I mean that's like something, when people say, well, that's what the police are for. The police have guns. Why do you need them? That's their argument right there. And it just look at it for 2 seconds instead of just listening to it, and it doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, let that 60-year-old woman get raped and murdered.
Yeah,
and before the police can even get there.
That's a great point because that's exactly what would happen.
She doesn't have the right to take another person's life, but that person has the right to take her life.
Yeah, and
by will alone because he's not going to follow any laws.
She shouldn't answer the door.
Oh, so it's her fault.
See, that's what they
That's
would
what
say.
they would say.
You shouldn't answer the door.
Exactly right.
You know, just
It's
like you
all
guys were
your
saying
fault.
earlier. Hey, what you know? But that's not the thing. You know,
No,
the thing of it
that's-
is she did, and
Right.
she has the right to answer her
Yes.
door, and she has the right to do the things that
And,
she
and that
did.
is the mentality. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
And
they
the-
say it to us. How
I
many times
know.
did they say that to you?
I've heard it
Yeah.
many of times.
That's why I don't hang around with certain people anymore.
Right,
Because
right.
the minute you
And
bring
if you're
something
listening,
like
get that point.
no, I'm serious. It's very, you know, and this is the same person. I bet you the same person contributed to this article because I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that person does. That's why they say things to people.
Uh-huh.
Oh, she shouldn't answer the door.
Yeah.
Oh, she shouldn't have got killed. She should have got killed then if she did answer the door. What if she
That's
was expecting
essentially
her,
what they're.
her son, her nephew. What if she was expecting somebody at the front door? So she
Right.
said, "Oh, it must be Jerry. It must be Bob." Next thing you know, it's criminal.
If Obamacare is costing you more money, it's your fault.
Oh yeah, I heard that too. Oh no, it's the insurance company's fault.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and
Yeah.
we don't want to get into Mrs. Capps lying on her website. Okay,
No,
let's
let's
not
of course
do that.
not do that. But let that be her downfall.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll move along.
But it's true. That one got me. You know, that's because they use that argument all the
Yeah,
time.
they do.
You know,
They really do.
Or they'll say it back to you. You say you believe in capital punishment, but you believe in saving babies.
Yeah.
Well, it's two different things, you know.
The innocent and the guilty. Yeah.
Hello?
Just like we were talking about. That's exactly the correlation.
Wait, let's let that guy on the street again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why not?
he did. He got out.
Yeah.
Yeah. On his own reconnaissance.
All right.
Yeah.
And the article goes on.
Well,
and
we were
you
heated
don't
up
know
for Thanksgiving, aren't we?
if you feel like you're going to be raped under uber liberal Representative Luis Salazar, Rocky Mountain Highness, on the debate about restricting the Second Amendment. If you feel like someone's been following you around, or if you feel like you're in trouble when you may actually not be, then you pop out that gun and you pop around at somebody. Yes, because the government knows better whether I might be raped than I do. Better that they get to decide who gets a round popped into them. It's best to let the authorities straighten things out, like they did once they got involved in the Trayvon Martin case.
Yeah, because that worked out so flawlessly.
Oh, yeah.
That was a seamless transition.
That's exactly what it says in the article. That worked out well for everybody, didn't it? But it's the truth. As soon as the government got involved, it turned everything upside down. It didn't even give the man a fair trial, even
Yeah.
though he was acquitted and whatnot.
And
it
it-
still wasn't a fair trial.
And it lost scope. It went from a defensive case to so much more, you know. And
Oh yeah, it went into a right on, black against white, and that was horrible.
That's
Right.
ridiculous.
You know, that's what it is.
That's how they play these things.
Yeah, it's just it was.
And that's
it
what
was.
gives our government powers, that they can get two sides going at each other, then they can pick the side or set one side up to be
Yeah.
the other side. And it's
What can
such
we really
a
do
division.
about that, though? I mean, there's.
What can we do
Yeah,
about that?
I mean, it's just like you can't disagree with certain politicians because of the color of their skin. Because you're gonna, if you're white and they're black, I mean, we got to do something about that. It's like crazy.
That's-
we need to get rid of the
wild.
ignorance.
Yes.
The battle we fought for
Yes.
so long
Right.
needs to be continued to be fought.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's part of what this is all about.
Never stop. Never stop. Just keep giving. Don't give up.
Absolutely.
Know that you're
Yeah.
gonna find the right thing.
And that's
Or fighting for the right thing.
Because these problems, like we were just saying, are 2,000-year-old problems,
Yeah.
one way or another.
You're
so people
absolutely
people haven't given up in 2,000 years. The argument. Why would it stop tomorrow?
Yeah.
It wouldn't.
Tomorrow's a new day, and everything's going to be honky dory.
Of
If
course,
you're a
it will.
liberal,
Libtard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're a liberal. It's
somebody
just gonna
called them
be
Democrats.
perfect.
I think that's a little bit.
We got a lot of names for him.
We're not here on the radio. Just call us.
Okay. The article goes on. The Martin case was a clear case of self-defense under the law. If, in fact, George Zimmerman felt threatened. As my friend and constitutional scholar Henry Holzer explained to me, the only thing that matters was what was Zimmerman's state of mind at the time of the shooting. If he thought he was acting in self-defense, he was acting in self-defense. The Zimmerman Martin case wasn't about liberal use of racism to pander for votes, as we all assumed. It was about taking away the right to self-defense. And that's the thing that's in question nowadays.
Yeah, that's, when people tell us that they're afraid to have a gun in their house to defend themselves because they don't want to go to prison. I mean, that's so sad.
That is sad. So are you going to give up your child's life because you're afraid of going to prison?
Yeah, well, I defend him, but I don't want to go to prison. Oh, there goes my kid.
Bye, son. I'll see you in heaven.
So you get arrested anyway for neglect of your child.
It is a double-edged sword.
Oh my gosh, you're so right.
That's what's going to happen.
I mean,
I think you should take the lesser of two evils. Kill the
And
guy
that-
and save the son. You're going to go.
That falls back to I told you not to answer the door.
There you go,
I mean, when does this
We're
stop?
we're always gonna fall back to don't answer the door.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done it.
Oh, my goodness.
Shouldn't have done
All
it.
right. Last week, I wrote about the families of two bad guys who were upset with a citizen for shooting and killing the robbers after they robbed a store in Reading, Pennsylvania. He had no right to lose his life over something that man could have called the police for, said the dead robber's mom.
Of course, she'd say that.
Right.
He, the self-defending citizen, took the law into his own hands and walked away scot-free. Yeah, I suppose if one thinks self-defense is a crime, which apparently one of the relations to the robbers does think it's a crime. How about if people just start running around here, policing the city on their own? How much worse is it going to get, said Peter Rattel, one of the robbers' cousins. Which now comes a word from Gonzaga University that 2 students have been placed on probation because they drove off by gunpoint an intruder who tried to break into their apartment.
They drove him away at
they're
gunpoint,
kicked
whatever.
out. Yeah.
But they got in trouble
Well, that's
for
because
stopping
it's a
a crime.
gun-free zone and they shouldn't have had any guns.
Well, what about the burglar? That guy probably had weapons. He probably even had a gun.
Well, I can understand why the mom and the cousin are a little upset.
Well, that's
Because they
they're-
lost a family
right,
member?
No,
they're-
because they're no longer getting the spoils from this guy going out robbing
Oh,
people. So
man.
they took their livelihood away.
Well, dang.
Sheesh.
And
You guys don't
obviously,
Hold it now. Wait 1 second there. All right, let's think about this again.
indeed.
You know, self-defense though, that's the thing that's here and it's under attack.
Well, look at the
Big time.
gunpoint thing. You know, your life is being threatened.
And you
know,
drove them
and
away. You
got
didn't
rid
even
of
hurt them.
You got rid of the. Yeah.
You
And
just
still,
stopped the
you're
problem.
an idiot.
And nobody got killed.
Yeah, still
No.
you're an idiot. You know,
But-
for thinking you could do that.
Yeah.
We need to
but-
punish you.
I mean, that
How
makes
dare
so-
you stand up for yourself? How dare you protect yourself?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's your
man.
fault. You opened the
You
door.
shouldn't have got robbed. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
all your
what are you
fault.
doing with that money anyway?
Yeah. Why are you trying to
Right.
spend
How did
money
you
here?
get that money?
Oh, that's his question.
How did you keep your money?
Yeah.
Oh.
How did they know you had money? Did you tell them?
Wow. Gonzaga University has placed 2 students on probation for violating a weapons policy after one of them displayed a gun to drive off an intruder at the apartment, says the Associated Press. Seniors Eric Fagan and Daniel McIntosh were informed Sunday of the probation, which allows them to remain in the Washington State school. They had been facing expulsion. Both planned to appeal. Well, that's reassuring. I wasn't aware that a university could suspend the Second Amendment.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what this guy writes. And that's the truth of the matter. We have the Second Amendment.
Now that's real.
And that's a federal constitutional right that should not be usurped by anyone or any organization.
Right. Just because they're saying that, oh, well, they were on private property of the university or something. I don't care. It doesn't have anything to do with private property. If you're a human being, this pertains to you, period, you know?
Absolutely. I'm glad that the university allows those young fellows to vote. I'm sure they aren't allowed to express their political views unrestricted, however, since it is a university, a school of higher learning, and only the liberal side need be heard there.
Oh, man.
It shouldn't surprise us that a society that is truly confused that the gun-free zone that they created behind the main building at the New York Public Library didn't prevent a 16-year-old from shooting someone over a coat he wanted. That the society also can't understand the concept of self-defense. And it's not just confined to New York either. The contagion has spread to Texas. Yeah, Texas. In 2012, a Houston area man was arrested after firing a gun into the ground to warn off burglars who were trying to break through his fence into his yard. It worked, kind of. The burglars were scared off, but the man was arrested for illegally discharging a firearm into the ground. Ground that he owns. Sovereign ground that he owns,
Yes.
if you want to add to it, in my words.
That is...
Yet, no word of yet whether any endangered species of worms was at risk in this shooting.
Right.
The Mesquite Police Department issued a statement in this case, writes former Harris County prosecutor Catherine Cabanis. They reported that they did not believe the homeowners should have felt threatened by the burglars' actions.
You shouldn't be don't feel threatened by the people that are in your house against your will.
Or breaking onto your property.
Yeah, breaking onto your property. I mean,
Don't feel
that's-
threatened by that.
There are people, we've heard this before. We've probably said it. If somebody's breaking into your house or your property, they're not there to buy you dinner.
No,
I mean, they're not going to do anything nice if they're breaking in. And this guy, discharge a firearm.
I know.
So what?
I can build a prison on my property.
But you know what? You know what I just thought of, too, guys?
Yeah.
You know what's really important here to know?
What?
The psychological effect this has on everybody else in the city.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
No, think about that. Think about that. See, if they can get this guy arrested, then nobody else will
Fire a
fire a
gun into the
gun.
ground.
So that
Nobody else
tells
will
the
deter.
criminals, hey,
I'm gonna.
you'll be arrested if you try to shoot me.
All right, no warning shots then.
Well, it's like in Santa Maria here,
But
and
think
in
about
many
that.
of the
Isn't that what
many
that
of the
is?
cities around here. They tell their police officers don't chase after him.
Right, yeah. In the
Well,
car, you mean.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
there was one out in my neighborhood the other night, so that must have been the
Well,
sheriff.
we
well,
all-
there are certain crimes that they will chase after you no matter what.
They have
Yeah.
to.
But
I agree.
There are a lot of crimes that they're telling people, no, don't chase after him. So what does that tell a criminal? Oh, well, shoot, I don't have to pull over. They're going to.
They don't even care about that type of crime. They won't even chase you.
Yeah, see ya. See you later.
That's exactly what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Is there just what you
Okay.
just said? It's just that's what the criminals now starting to think, and the people who are trying to defend themselves. Well, if I shoot and miss, or if I shoot into the ground, or shoot in the air, I'll get arrested. Maybe I'll just hide under the bush. Maybe he won't see me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
and-
American.
Oh man.
Isn't it? I mean, that's what they
Oh,
want.
God. The police stated that because they believe the homeowner's actions were reckless and unreasonable, the use of the weapon was unlawful. For this reason, they discounted the self-defense laws and arrested the homeowner for discharging a weapon. Here's my counter statement. I do not believe that the Mesquite Police Department, the administrators of Gonzaga University, or the extended family of the slain robbers in Reading, Pennsylvania, should feel threatened by private individuals exercising their right to self-defense. I think that not defending ourselves would be reckless and unreasonable. The alternative is relying upon the Mesquite Police Department, the administrators of Gonzaga University, and the extended family of the slain robbers in Reading, Pennsylvania, for self-defense. And you know what that would get us? Dead. That's what.
You're exactly right.
Absolutely.
So long live the king. The rest of us, not so much.
Not so much. No kidding. And that is, it's so weird that that is the way that people think.
It is.
And but I can almost, when I'm like we were just saying how they're making people think about it. Well, I won't do this. Is there somebody sitting up in their chair, kind of just like the king, twiddling his thumbs, going, "Aha, awesome! I'm making him so scared that they're not even going to use guns."
I think that was it. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier. There's somebody who did this, and that was their intent.
Yeah, it seems like
I
it.
got him. They're not going to let off no more guns in my city.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I've made a better world.
Or whatever
Oh,
they're thinking.
that's probably what- yeah.
Whatever, but the thought pattern, I absolutely believe it. That's why I brought that up. I said, hey, there's a reason why they did this.
There absolutely
yeah.
is.
Yeah, so and the criminals saying, hey, we don't have to worry about getting shot at either.
So there's a split amongst us. There are the law-abiding and the not-so-law-abiding.
No, I'm thinking
It's
what
not a racial split.
I'm thinking about.
It's true.
And we, the law-abiding, empower the criminals.
By default, no.
I don't think that's what the intent. I think this is a liberal mind thought that this will stop if I arrest these people. No one else will do it. I
well-
think that's the way they think.
That's
Yeah, but you know darn well that if somebody's... Well, no, he'll hide under the bush if somebody's breaking into his fence or his house, won't he?
well, of course,
Take your
yeah.
stuff, take my stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you
You better get out of here. The police are coming.
Yeah, 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Because you live 2
If you're
hours
in
outside
Detroit,
of the,
it's 90
of
minutes.
the local zone that they patrol. Scary. You have a point. I think you do have... Well, we all have a point here. I think it's all pointing to the same thing. All right, we should...
Isn't Gonzaga the same thing? Doesn't it sound like that? I
Yeah,
mean,
they're
let's
trying
be
to
honest.
deter
It does.
people from a certain way of living.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and that's the problem.
That's why he's saying, yeah, I got him.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. He's got up there. Yeah. I mean,
And
I
the
see
truth of
it.
the matter is, all they're doing is destroying, taking apart, and depriving us
Dismantling it. Yeah.
Yeah, from being who we are, number one, being Americans, number two, and even more important, being the great country that we are that separates us from all other countries. It is the beginning downfall. It's part of the whole process, and they know that. They know that there are certain steps, and you can go out and read books on the process and their goals to do such things. There's a bigger picture to all of this.
Yeah.
And yes, the smaller picture might be at the forefront at the moment, but you can guarantee that the whole thing is built up behind a bigger picture, and it's indoctrination that these guys are following under.
I agree.
Agenda,
I agree.
agenda,
I
agenda.
agree. It's almost like the recycling thing, I mean, I recycle because we get money for it, and they charge you anyway. So why not just recycle it, right?
Right.
Okay, but it gets pretty weird. Some kind of recycling is, let's face it, it's over the top. I mean, you don't want to use recycled toilet paper or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But the recycling is getting.
sterilized.
But but you think about it, they want you to think so far down the road that you're like, hey, it's okay for a little bit, but.
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to do.
The
Same thing here. If they can get a little bit, they have an agenda to go way down the road. If they can get you to think a little tiny bit.
It's like getting a foothold. All they need is the foothold.
I think that's what it is.
Oh, I hate the pollution credits and all that kind of stuff because that's what it's going to lead
to
to.
taxes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
It's
all
oh my
money
God,
driven.
what a scam.
But I think the same thing with you. What Matt was bringing up too is I think there was somebody going, I got it. I got him.
yeah.
We got him on the run now.
They've won.
And because I don't want to knock down recycling, because there is some cool things to recycle. You get money back if you do it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was watching some stuff today that they were recycling everything. I'm thinking, why? Who cares?
Hey, I personally think archaeologists need something to dig up later on.
yeah. We're recycling everything.
Oh, it's another plastic bottle.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what the society was
diaper.
like. Wow, highly advanced.
Yeah.
All right, on that note, we should probably take a quick break. When we come back, we have the A&M law professor who wants to repeal the Second Amendment, which follows right in line with what we're talking about right now.
Yep.
So we'll be right back with you on the firing line.
You're listening to On the Firing Line on the Information Station.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local
The
ladies.
store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years. You are on the firing line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the local Santa Maria area, please give us a call at 928-1440.
That's right. You are back on the firing line. So, all right, now we're going to get into Texas A&M.
Yeah, A&M law professor wants to repeal the Second Amendment.
Repeal the Second Amendment. It's an amendment.
Hello? Yeah, amend this.
Boom.
Okay, this is by Don Solomon, written November 19th of this year. The national debate surrounding guns is frequently heated. When Texas A&M law professor Mary Margaret Prenoz suggested repealing the Second Amendment from the relatively comfortable confines of a symposium on gun rights at the University of Connecticut Law School, she found herself pouring more fuel on the debate. According to the CTN News, or CTNewsJunkie.com, Penrose made the proposal to repeal and replace to an audience of mostly lawyers and law students last week. There's your brainwashing right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sister Mary's trying to get that thing across there.
You know, and
That's her religion. No.
and saying it to law students and stuff, that seems counterproductive at the very least to me.
Well, she's trying to persuade them.
Yeah, but well, I get that, but I don't. I guess
But we're all, hey, today is, I'm thinking the same thing. They're all trying to do, they're all working for the
well, they are.
same thing.
They're coming after me.
Hey, it looks like we have a return caller online. Brian, how you doing?
I'm your regular, guys. hey, listen. Listen to you're talking about protecting yourself again, and that's that is a constitutional right, and that's what I don't understand. I'm not one of those guys that goes around carrying a gun. I'm going to shoot everybody that shows up, but I've got a ranch, and I had a fella out here one time, and I pulled up, and he was parked up above, and I had my 44 in my truck, and I said, "Excuse me, sir," and he started going faster.
Huh.
"Excuse me, sir." Pretty soon he's running, and I finally I hemmed him in. I said, "Dude, don't run from me. This is my property. What's the matter with you?" Well, I didn't know, and he was here to see somebody else, but, you know, I didn't shoot him, you know, because I'm not that guy.
Right.
Well, and he was running from
If
you.
he turned around with a gun, I'd have nailed him right down to the ground.
Well,
you know?
and that's what it's all about. That's why you have that Second Amendment right. You know, and it doesn't.
Yes,
it says
sir.
to bear arms. It doesn't necessarily mean guns. It means any weapon at all, I believe.
Yep.
But and that's your choice to do that. And our forefathers knew that a lot of it had to do with firearms, and that's why they put the provision in there for us.
Exactly. I've said it before to you guys, and I'll say it again. Why is the Second Amendment open to interpretation, whereas the First Amendment, here recently, the best one is the Fifth Amendment.
Well, I am the 10th.
Yeah.
That's not open to interpretation.
Well, none of them
None
are.
of them are,
None
but
of them are.
that's the whole question. And I'll tell you what, you stay tuned to the show, and we'll explain and point out exactly why it's under attack.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got news for you. You know, you talk about the Second Amendment. A buddy of mine give me blacktail, or not blacktail, I'm sorry, mule deer, heart and liver, and I got it simmering in the pot right now.
Oh, wow, yum, yum.
Yes, sir, it's going to be good.
All right. Hey, thanks for
Anyway,
calling in, Brian.
All right, you
I'll
have a
be
great
right
day,
back.
okay?
All right,
Hope
guys,
you had a
thanks
good
lot.
Thanksgiving. Hey, it looks like we have another caller. Dan, you're on the line on the firing line with Matt, Joe, and Jim here today.
Hey,
How you
how you
doing?
guys doing?
Pretty good.
I guess I missed this thing last week because I was curious about like this, knockout game.
Yeah, the knockout
And
game. Oh
where
my gosh.
where you got somebody, it's really hard to get a concealed carry. But, I guess you guys last week, I've been looking, I'm a member of the NRA and I always read the Armed Citizen and all that stuff. But I must have missed that, one of these knockout things, they, dumped a clip in these punks.
Well, and that's the story we were talking about last week, Matt and I and Jim. And that's, you know what? Can you imagine if they take away our Second Amendment right, like these guys, like this lady right here at A&M, they want to take away our gun rights, want to take it away and give it to each and every state. Well, guaranteed here in California, you might as well just succumb to the knockout because you're not going to be able to defend yourself. And that's why we kind of brought up to today's show, because it's under such heavy attack, and there are these punks going around doing these things. And you know what? They get shot. They get what they deserve, unfortunately. I don't want my son to get shot, but I don't want him going around knocking people out either.
Right.
And I'll certainly discipline him if I find out he has any idea of it. And if he does something to a point where it's so evil that something happens to him, you know what? Part of that's my fault, but he also made a decision, and it's a sad thing. And
I mean, that's sort of it. Like, I've seen that thing where, like, the guys in the elevator, I mean, if the guy could have had, like, 9mm or something, even SR-22, and, dump, 10 rounds into him. But this is the other thing on how many rounds can you have?
10.
If you have a Glock, hold 17, maybe you need that if you got, 3 punks attacking you.
Well, this was 7. She had 7.
she had
2 of them
7.
hit her.
Yeah,
And then she pulled out her gun and shot 2 of them.
At this point where they have the, limit on how many rounds you can have in your magazine.
Yeah, we talked about that.
That's sort of another issue.
Oh, yeah, definitely
That's
is.
sort of like, okay, the thugs that are getting you have got, 50-round clips. If you got some, it just depends where you happen to be. But, the amount of rounds you got, I mean, other than the deranged people, it's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
And then you can look at, like, Feinstein. I mean, I hope we vote a bunch of these people out this year. And I think we got a good chance.
Well, we're looking at a gift horse, though, with Obamacare. I mean, we
I
got
think
Congress
that's
people
gonna
lying
just
on their
make
website.
people
and stuff,
wake
so.
up.
Yep.
So, anyway, hey, I love your guys' show, and I have to get down to your range and, bring down a few of my guns and have a little fun.
That sounds great. We'd love to see you there. Thank you.
And are you guys there, all the time there?
Well, I'm there Tuesday through Saturdays. Matt's there
Sunday through Wednesday.
Perfect. Because I want to come down and meet you guys beak to beak.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Okay, Dan, thanks a lot for the phone call. We appreciate it. Call us again.
All right, have a good one.
All right, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
And that's a good point. The knockout game thing does we do need the option to have the CCWs. If there obviously is a threat out there that's more than, just the police stuff, but there, people are getting hurt, and it is a vital or a viable reason to why we need, to have a weapon on you.
Yeah.
One person can't physically fight 7 people. It's just, you can't do it. You just can't do it.
Even our gun can't do that if you only got 6 bullets in it.
Yeah. And our government and our police cannot know when those kids are going to do that to be there to stop it and protect us.
Yep. Yeah,
that's
crystal ball.
Exactly.
All right. Let's get back to the A&M story then.
Yeah. Sister Mary.
Sister Mary. Penrose asked the audience, as she was talking to this audience of lawyers and scholars and whatnot.
Law students, too.
Law students, yes. A room packed full of lawyers and law students. How many of them felt the legislative and judicial responses to gun violence have been effective? Not a single hand went up.
Okay, wait, hold on. Just I got a comment about that. When I read that, you know why? Who was going to raise their hand? Who was going to raise? You were going to raise your hand?
Not me.
No, but think about it. Who was going to do that?
I was there, and I wouldn't raise my hand.
Because nobody wants to be the only black sheep.
Exactly. I mean, so what? Nobody raised their hand.
Well, no, the fact of the matter is all the gun regulations that have been put out there is ineffective.
They are.
I mean, and so it is not effective, and that's what they're agreeing, that it's not effective, and something more needs to be done. And they go on. I think I'm in agreement with you, and unfortunately, drastic times require drastic measures, Penrose said. I think the Second Amendment is misunderstood, and I think it's time today in our drastic measures to repeal and replace the Second Amendment. This is a person in charge. This is a professor in a college that's brainwashing our kids.
Yep.
And they know that Texas is a very gun-friendly state, so where are they going to insert these kind of peoples? Guess what?
It's right here. It's happening.
Well, she spoke at the University of Connecticut Law School, so she wasn't even talking in Texas. She was up on the left or East Coast.
Sure. Yeah. So she's an implant from the East Coast to the A&M.
Yeah, all right. I agree with that.
Rather than applying the amendment to all states, Penrose recommended striking the provision to enable individual states greater discretion in determining their own gun policies. The beauty of states' rights model solution is it allows those of you who want to live in a state with strong restrictions to do so, and those who want to live in a state with very loose restrictions to do so, she said. She obviously does not get that we are not a democratic democracy. We are a republic, and it is our Constitution that binds us to that.
Yeah. And she's also kind of going on far, lefts and rights on this, saying... She's not finding a common ground. I mean, it's.
No. But not only that, don't they already have states like that?
Well, that's exactly, and that's why it's so far fetched.
Yeah,
and I mean, if you want to live in a state where everything is this, or if you don't, then go there. It's not that simple.
No,
yeah,
why is she trying to make it so simple?
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. It's not that simple.
It isn't.
And in a republic, you know what? It's not about mob rules.
No, it's not.
So hey.
Well, at least it shouldn't be.
Well, that's true.
Well, should and what it is, that's two different things, yeah.
This quickly caught the attention of groups like the NRA and conservative blog The Daily Caller, both of whom, unsurprisingly, took issue with the Penrose suggestion. The NRA supporters expressed their outrage at the group's Facebook page. Mindless, educated liberal with no common sense, move to Cuba and enjoy the slice of heaven.
I might agree, maybe.
Now, that was just one example. Well, the caller ended its story by citing a blog that referred to the A&M Law School, which is previously the Texas Wesleyan School of Law in Fort Worth, as a dung pit and a fourth-tier pile of rat droppings.
Wow.
To be clear, the Penrose's proposal is a thought experiment and has no chance of coming to pass. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
But the commenters on the NRA's Facebook page, who, quote, shall not be infringed, are missing something. Repealing the Second Amendment would, or repeal the Second Amendment, meaning that its current language would not be relevant. despite the fact that, again, Penrose's idea is functionally impossible for people who agree with her to ever achieve. It's worth taking a moment to look at exactly what it would mean. Theoretically, any amendment could be repealed as the 18th Amendment was. Penrose's suggestion to overwrite the amendment so that the power to regulate guns would rest fully in the hands of the states. So say Connecticut would outlaw them entirely if they wanted to, while in Texas nothing would change. All it would take for that to happen would be first the House and Senate to pass them both by a 2/3 majority and call for a new amendment. Let's hope to God that never happens.
And the states have to ratify it. They have to get it. I don't know if they're saying, yeah, there it is. 38 of 50 states have to ratify it.
And, you know, if one state does it, I think that's going to make other people they're going to use that as the model. Well, we can be more like Connecticut. It's not going to be, well, this state has it and this state doesn't, so that's your choice. That's going to be the start of the dominoes.
Yeah.
They're going to start pointing
Our
at
United
that
States. You know, it talked about in the Federalist Papers that states could go to war with other states.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You can.
Yeah.
Just think of that.
For sovereignty, that's right. You can.
That's, you know, people haven't read enough, don't know enough in a lot of cases, and I'm still reading. I don't even know enough, but I'm trying to become more and more educated to be able to make good decisions, to be able to have some sort of enlightenment, to be able to understand why we have the Second Amendment, why we have all the other amendments, and you know, like we said earlier in the show, the times have not changed. And if we continue to walk backwards towards the empire-ruled, European ideals, we're going to lose out on what this world has so much to offer because, sure, America makes its mistakes like anybody else. It's almost like a person. Yeah. But does that mean, I hate that person forever? No. You get it together, you fix it, and you keep making it stronger and stronger. We're always going to live in nations that make mistakes, but we can recognize that some ideals are better than other ideals and move forward with those things.
I agree with that.
And with the whole the victim's mentality that they're trying to push, I mean, careful what you wish for, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of what I keep thinking to myself. Is you keep telling people this stuff, it's going to backfire somehow majorly. And
because it gets people up in arms. But Joe, I don't know if you remember that, but it's been a few years now. But you went through all of that one day. You went through all the times that people have tried to do something about the Second Amendment. And every single time, without fail, 100%, boom, it gets knocked down.
Right.
I think it started like in 1828 or something, if I remember. I remember we had an 8, and then I thought it was in 1828
and that
or
was just within the states before we became the United States.
They wanted to get rid of the Second Amendment or change the Second Amendment law, so this isn't new.
Is it that hard to believe that they got it right the first time?
They did get it right the first time. Absolutely got it right.
Thank you.
I agree.
Point well made. Show's over.
We're done.
Close the book.
Right? I mean, seriously. I got to read you guys this thing from the Federalist page. I put one thing in bold and another thing in red. On the Facebook show, it doesn't show it. But I want you to just listen to these words and put this all in perspective, okay?
Take it away.
Was then the American Revolution effected? Was the American Confederacy formed? Was the precious blood of thousands spilt and the hard-earned substance of millions lavished? Not that the people of America should enjoy peace, liberty, and safety, but that the government of individual states, the particular municipal establishments, might enjoy a certain extent of power and be arrayed with certain dignities and attributes of sovereignty? That statement alone says so much.
Yeah.
We have heard that the impious doctrine of the old world, that the people were made for kings, not kings for the people. In the same doctrine to be revived in the new, in another shape, that the solid happiness of the people is to be sacrificed to the views of political institutions of different form.
And we're seeing it.
That's it right there.
That's what we argue about every week.
This says it all, exactly.
That's right.
When I saw that, and you can go to the Federalist Papers, that was number 45, read the whole thing, and that is the boil of it all right there.
It really is, yeah.
It says so much. And with our government today, in today's times, willing to get rid of certain amendments, willing to do different things like this, it just puts us in such a bad position. We have to open our eyes. We have to be able to see that this is not the way it should go. I don't know what else to say except that we have to do something. We have to remember the fight for good and evil, the fight for good and bad, and put your foot forward where you think it belongs.
Yeah, and it's not supposed to be easy. It's not as clear cut as everybody wants it to be, and just this is this and this is this.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that easy. You have to immerse yourself. You have to do some research and then start making forming your stuff up.
You get that research done, you can use common sense because you'll have the information and tool at your fingertips.
Yeah, what happens a lot, and we know this for a fact, what happens a lot on this is people are reactionary. They see them horrible Sandy Hook, or they see something like this and they're horrified by it, so they stand up and say, we got to do something.
Yeah.
So but the reasonable person says, yeah, you're right, we got to do something, let's find out what we need to do.
Right.
Instead of saying, oh yeah, let's get rid of elevator.
The reasonable person, so that just means there's way too many unreasonable persons.
We heard
out
they were
there.
unreasonable from Chicago.
Exactly.
From Chicago.
Yeah. I'm just
right. The police commissioner of Chicago. We heard the unreasonable from him.
Right.
Very much so. Yeah.
It's a shame that the mob sensitivity, which is just emotions run amok, can present and push forward ideals that have no meaning, have no ability to produce anything good, and leave us with, like Matt said, the ability to become victims.
And it's ultimate. It really is sad. It's to see them even going in this direction, because it's very, I don't know, it's opposite of what they should be doing, I guess. I mean, that's personal opinion, but it seems like it's very much the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I'm kind of at a loss of words for it because that's how I feel. It doesn't seem right, and that's it to me.
Unbelievable. Impious.
It is.
All right, enough guns. I've had it. Enough gun talk, enough all this. How was everybody's Thanksgiving?
I had a good
Mine was
Thanksgiving.
great. Yeah. I had fun. I cooked, and like I said, I got paintings up at Veranda in Old Orchid. So they had that over the weekend and stuff. So it was kind of fun. It was really kind of fun.
Good.
Everybody's around. My grandchildren were around. It was fun.
Sweet.
A lot of fun.
So I know you guys have probably had it with all the shopping stuff.
Black Friday?
Yeah.
I didn't go. I never do that.
I didn't go either, but it's just crazy.
It is crazy.
I used to
so
work on
wild.
that day, but like I told you guys, we used to open up at 6. This stuff that's killing Thanksgiving by opening up 6 o'clock Thanksgiving night.
Right, exactly.
We were talking about that earlier before the show. Like I was saying, can you imagine the poor guy that has to go in and work on Thanksgiving that normally, 5-10 years ago might have gotten paid to have that day off and be with his family, enjoying what it is to be a family kind of society. Now it's like, we're not going to give you that day off paid. We're going to make you come in and work for that pay. And because there are other people that will come in and spend their money. And then Jim was saying, well, because this store did it, then the next store had to do it too.
Right.
And it just kept going dominoes.
They're destroying one time where you're supposed to sit around and give thanks for the year that you had and say, buy something for me.
Right.
That's what it seems like.
Almighty dollar.
I watched a show. What was it? Macy's Parade,
though.
right? Did you guys happen to watch the Macy's Parade on Thursday morning?
I saw some of it.
Why?
What a terrible thing.
Why? They'd show 2 minutes of Macy's Parade and 7 minutes of commercials. Then back to 2 minutes or interview somebody, and then 7. I'm not exaggerating.
No, it really,
that makes it worthless.
Why watch it?
It was really
That's like taking an hour and a half movie and putting it on TV for 4 hours.
And then they would show just a balloon go by.
That's just ridiculous.
But it happens,
Oh man.
Oh my God. Hey, one thing I got to say, I know we only have 2 minutes left, is I had a fantastic dinner. Donna, Dwayne's mom, actually cooked turkey, cooked stuffing, all kinds of excellent stuff, and we had condiments to go with it that were fantastic. As a matter of fact, we were eating it last night, and I just want to say a big thank you out there for Donna, because
thanks,
awesome
Donna.
job.
Way to go.
So,
yep.
Good job.
I ate way too much on that day, definitely.
Oh my God, I ate too much last night too.
Yeah.
As long as we have food, we'll be eating too much.
I think I ate too much yesterday than I did on Thanksgiving. I had to work all day Thanksgiving, got up early and cooking and everything with my wife. But so you kind of but yesterday I didn't do nothing. But like today, I sat around a lot.
All three of us here are so blessed that we have the ability to do that, because there are so many out there that don't have that ability.
Yep.
I wish that I had more money. If I was a millionaire, I'd be giving even more money out to do whatever I could for people. Yeah. But I don't. So unfortunately, I was just lucky enough to be able to spend time with my families and do all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a time of Thanksgiving and thanks for the year we had. I mean, we had a pretty good year here. We've had a lot of fun. Tried to do a lot of good things here. So I'm thankful for this show. I'm thankful that you get to have it on here.
And I'm thankful for Jesus for giving us the right to be able to do this.
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
So,
we're thankful.
Yes, I said that over the air. Jesus. Jesus. Thank you.
I ain't listening to your show no more.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well,
that's your choice. You better not listen to our show.
That's the issue right there. It is your choice. You don't want to, that's okay with us. You know what
absolutely.
I'm saying? It's your choice. That's what America's about.
It's
your
America.
choice.
Hey,
exactly.
guaranteed they take away our guns, you'll never be able to say Jesus again.
That's how it starts.
They're gonna do that.
That's how it starts. All right, folks, don't forget to get out there and stand up for yourself once in a while. It's a good thing. We will see you next week on The Firing Line.